we will return the next season. As we mentioned numerous times in the previous chapters, the mawasim of Hajj that took place. Rasulullah ﷺ for 9 years, inviting again and again, openly, during these times. Finally, a tribe has accepted, and they said, "We promise we will return next year and we will accept openly." In that interim period, that 1 year that's going to now lapse between this Hajj and the next, they devised a plan. How can we get to a point where bringing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, accepting his message, and what was he saying sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Accept La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but there was something else he added on. If those of us remembered, he added on that you believe in Allah, you believe I'm the messenger, and then you give me protection. Take me with you, give me protection, and I guarantee you Jannah. That was the statement. So they said, yes, we will do this. Not now. The delegation that has come for Hajj, we believe, but we need 1 more year. Now, this is planning. This is, working within the community, trying to set a goal, not just saying that, put our trust in Allah and not tying the camel, as they say, but planning. If we want to plan for our families, we want to plan for going for Hajj, you need to start. Sometimes a year, 2 years. Some people plan 4 or 5 years to go for Hajj. Similarly, planning my child, I want him to become a person who reads the Quran and understands the Quran and implements the Quran. Just making dua, oh Allah, make my child pious. Oh Allah, give him the understanding of the deen. Oh Allah, my daughter, make her modest. Making all these duas is great, but there has to be some plan. That shows the reality, the purpose that a person has in his life, acknowledging that with the dua comes dawa, as they say, comes medicine. You cannot just make dua, you also need the medicine. So what is the medicine? How are we planning it? So they said they will need 1 year. بعثوا إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن ابعث إلينا رجلا من قبلك فيدعو الناس إلى كتاب الله فإنه أدنى أن يتبع. They said that they sent a man to Rasulullah sallam. After they went back, they made this promise. They had a discussion, obviously. They sat in Medina, they sat down with the dignitaries, said, look, we believe in Rasulullah sallam, we understand he's the Prophet, we accepted it. How do we get our tribe at this city to now bring him in? They sent a man, after consulting each other, they sent a man to Rasulullah sallam and to tell him in Mecca, send us, give us someone who will come and teach us, and who will come and talk to the people, who will come and be a role model, who will come and propagate the deen, set the grounds, make the grassroots efforts in Medina so that the field is set for you, Rasulullah. Immediately, as soon as they went back, they sent. So here, Rasulullah has a difficult decision. Who to send? Who to send? فبعث إليهم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مصعب بن عمير رضي الله عنه أخا بني عبد الدار. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم selected Musab ibn Umair. Who is this individual? He is coming from one of the richest family in Mecca. His mother, Khunnas, she was so wealthy that the reputation of her and her son, she would spend lavishly on him. He would wear different clothes, one in the morning, one in the evening. That's how wealthy this person was. And you would never see him wear one piece of cloth again. They would say that he would wear such perfumes that the community could tell when Mus'ab came by because of the smell of his perfume. How incredibly concentrated the perfume was, how incredibly expensive it was, and unique it was. This is who Mus'ab radiallahu anhu was, coming from one of the richest families of the time. He accepts Islam, and in secrecy, this is when Rasulullah did not even properly propagate Islam openly. He does not even tell his mother, because he's afraid that if he tells her, that he can face anybody, but he cannot face his mother. He loved her a lot. Finally, a time came when someone from Mecca observed him praying and him going to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and getting lessons. So this person goes and tells the mother. She finds out, and what does she do? She imprisons him. House arrest. Puts him in the house, chains him up, and then keeps him there. Finally, when he hears that the Muslims are migrating to Abyssinia, he decides, this is my chance. He tricks the guards and he escapes. There's a long story about him, but the end result is so beautiful that a man who would wear different cloth, one in the morning, one in the evening, and never wear the same cloth again, he's in a situation in Medina where he's sent as a scholar, as a teacher for the community, but the cloth he wears are so simple and raggedy, just one cloth that he keeps using again and again. And he is content, he is happy in this situation. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sends him فَنَزَلَ فِي بَنِي غَنْمٍ. He sends to Bani Ghanam, this tribe. There's a person known as Asad ibn Zurara. And what he does is he's the leader of that clan. So there are multiple clans in Medina. He stays in his home and now starts propagating. People come and talk to him, he goes, visits them, and for this 9-10 month period, he sets the ground for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. يُحَدِّثُهُمْ وَيَقُصُّ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنِ, and he narrates the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith. This is where hadith already had come into existence. And he recites the Quran to them. And he was known to all as the most beautiful reciter of the Quran. Not only a reciter, but understood the Quran as well. فَلَمْ يَزَلْ مُصْعَبْ عند سعد ibn Mu'adh. And then he goes to a second tribal leader, Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, and he does not leave his place. فَلَمْ يَزَلْ, meaning he continues. He continues to invite people when he's staying there. So what he's doing is he's going from one clan to another clan, and he's staying with the leader and teaching the leader, their family, the brothers, the uncles, and all the people. He's engaging with them throughout the months, throughout these days, throughout this 1 year. He's doing this continuously. وَيَهْدِ اللَّهِ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ حَتَّى قَلَّ دَارًا مِنْ دُورِ الْأَنصَارِ. And he does not leave one house to such an extent that in the entire Medina, there were very few homes that did not accept Islam. Majority of the homes in Medina had already accepted Islam because of the effort of Mus'ab ibn Umair. The playing field was set, إِلَّا أَسْلَمَ فِيهَا النَّاسِ, and the people had accepted Islam. La mahala, there is no doubt in it. وَأَسْلَمَ الْأَشْرَافُهُمْ, and the dignitaries he was staying at, they had also accepted Islam. One of the most important things to note is how Rasulullah why Rasulullah selected this particular individual. I mean, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu could have been selected, right? Ali radiallahu anhu could have been selected. But why this particular individual? Because he's coming from a family of dignitaries. The way he deals, the type of status he has, the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, the way he eats is noble. Even amongst the Arab, he's already coming with that etiquette, that manner. Rasulullah ﷺ sending someone who's not a dignitary, probably someone who maybe was a slave, he wouldn't be able to be compatible with them. Rasulullah ﷺ strategically places an individual who had qualities. The only difference is those qualities were in pre-Islamic time, and before accepting Islam, those qualities were being used for un-Islamic things. But here, took the same qualities and then used them for Islam. That's what we should do with our children. Instead of finding the child who's not good in school, who's a troublemaker, who's disrespectful, what do we say? Let's put him in Hifz. Let's put him in the madrasa. Let's put him there. The quality will not change. That quality is still the same. Very difficult, after much work, that change comes. But if you send, and now alhamdulillah I know of some families, they send the brightest, the most intelligent to the madrasa. They say, no, this is a gem and he learns fast and he can do so many things. I want him to become a hafiz. I want him to become an alim. The quality is there, and when it's applied in the deen, it shines. Similar was the case with Mus'ab ibn Umair radiallahu an, And the dignitaries immediately accepted Islam. وأسلم وأسلم Amr ibn Jamuh, he's another tribal leader who is in Medina, and he accepts Islam as well. And وَكُسِرَتْ أَسْنَامَهُمْ, then what they did was, these dignitaries, after accepting Islam, they were immediate, these Muslims, they were immediate to act upon what they believed. They took the idols. Imagine, inside their own homes, they were worshipping it yesterday, and today they took these idols and they broke each and every one of them in their homes. They broke all the idols in their homes and accepted Islam. ورجع موسى بن عمير رضي الله عنه إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Musa ibn Umair رضي الله عنه returns to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم in between this time from one season to another, and Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم from then on وكان يدعى المقرئ مقرئ. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم would then from that point on would call him as the muqri. This is a person who is not only a reciter, but a person who is well versed in the Quran. He recites beautifully and has in-depth understanding, and that was the title given to him. His end was such, he participated in Badr, and he was a martyr in Uhud. Coming to Medina, a few years into Medina, he fights in the battle, and the description of his end, his martyrdom is so beautiful. He is told by Rasulullah ﷺ that he will carry a flag, and the flag of Islam. And he's told that once Rasulullah then appoints that if this person falls, carrier of the flag, then the second person will be appointed. And this person falls, then the third person will be appointed. When the people heard this, people in Medina heard this, they knew immediately that the first person will fall, the second person will fall, and the third person will live. Because Rasulullah stopped there. You know who the first person was to carry the flag? Musa ibn Umair radiallahu anhu. He carried the flag with his hands, and one man came in a horse from the Quraysh that were fighting, and he cut off one of his hands. So he held it in the left hand. Then while he's holding it in the left hand, another person comes, slices his other hand. He's holding it with his neck and his shoulder, holding the flag up, leaning against it, until finally someone comes and puts a spear in his back. And that is how he ends, his martyrdom takes place. This is Musa ibn Umair radiallahu anhu. These are stories, narrations, and qualities that we need to discuss with our children. We find our children in a difficult situation saying, how can I practice Islam? It's so difficult. How can I stand out? How can I be the only person doing these things? How can I look like a Muslim? Explain to them people that lived and performed in far worse conditions. Show them the role models that are there. Musa ibn Umair, coming from a rich family. Yeah, we are all here rich compared to the rest of the world. And our children are in luxury. We don't even realize how much luxury we're in. And when we see these examples, we see that a person who was in far greater luxury sacrificed it all. When he was buried, before he was buried, the kafan was there. The cloth that was put on him, Rasulullah ﷺ was a witness to this, that multiple companions narrated, the cloth that was put on him, they would try to cover his face and his feet would show. That's how short the cloth was. They would try to cover his feet and the face would show. He didn't even have enough cloth to cover his body for his funeral service. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq to act upon this. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.